Okay, I think we're close enough now. I think we'll get started. So this is a question and answer session. I haven't got anything scripted to tell you guys. Margie is here with. Let's see. Purely driven by your questions, and some questions we've received by people that actually haven't made it on the call. But I mean, this is being recorded, so your questions that you've asked will be recorded and available for other people to see later, so they will get a chance to see their questions answered. Now, Colin has been with us from early, and he's already asked a question. So I don't believe that everybody can see that question, but I'll read it out. I'm really keen in getting a scalar device and looking at a few, but really like the QSB. I know there are a few dodgy devices out there, and I was wondering, can the QSB waves be measured when standing in the field with a metered device? Okay, my answer to that is I am not aware of a scalar wave measuring device. So your question has piqued my interest, as I would like to find it, and if it's affordable, get hold of it. Right up to now, the scalar wave measuring device that we've been using is the human body. The human body is very capable of detecting them, and then you can muscle test, that's the cheapest way to do it, is to muscle test the human body as to what the body is experiencing in terms of exposure to scalar waves, or there are devices, biofeedback devices, to get measurements from the body. So the idea that there is a device out there that's measuring scalar waves is very interesting to us. So, answer to your question, we haven't had it tested. It's been tested in the field. It's been tested by us. We're getting some good results. We don't know all the answers. We're not coming from, we're not a big company that's got a massive research and development budget that we could do, throw $500,000 of testing at it. And if that had been the way that we decided to go, we may have got some funding, I suppose. But the QSB would not be on the market at the moment. So the way that we decided to do it is to get it out there. We worked as making it as affordable as possible. There's a lot of research and development gone into it as it is. There's 4 prototypes that have gone before the QSB, and our idea was to get it out there. Each one goes out with a 30-day money back guarantee, and we've extended that for people that have needed a bit longer. Some people have not got on with it. I'll be completely honest with you. I think that we've sold 250 into the market, and I think we've had 5 back. 5 people just didn't really get it. It wasn't ringing their bells, whatever, which is fine, which is what we expected. But on the flip side of that, we've had some people that have had some really transformative experiences. We've had some major healing reactions, detox reactions, but each one that goes out is going out on a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you're one of the people that just doesn't get it, doesn't really see its value, then to send it back. But then on the back of that, we've got a forum that we are encouraging people to put their questions in, to put their experiences in, so that we're increasing our knowledge base as to what the QSB can do, how it can be used. To give you an example, one thing that's come back is people are using it to charge water and improve the quality of their tea and coffee. and quite possibly doing some other things as well. I have tried it myself. The first time I tried it, the frequencies in the water gave me quite a spaced out experience. I felt like I was tripping. So there's definitely doing something, and I would say it's definitely beneficial. But that's something that we haven't researched ourselves. People have taken it upon themselves, used their own intuition to experiment. So that is something that we encourage.
But can I just say that in the development, we have had it tested with blood, haven't we?
Oh, yeah, and that will have been available to you, Colin. You hopefully will have seen that it does. It de-stresses the body. That's one thing that we know absolutely. It removes stress from the body, and that is, you know, you can detect that with a simple. Well, I mean, it's quite expensive equipment, but it's a high-powered. What's the word I'm looking for?
Hemaview.
Yeah, magnification. Yeah, I've lost the word that I'm trying to find, but it just magnifies the blood, live blood. So we've been able to test that, and the premise is that in terms of healing and what it's doing for us, what it can do for us, is that everything is tied to some kind of stress in the body, and some of these stresses that we pick up as children. In fact, the majority of them we pick up as children. We carry around those stresses. And by releasing those, by shaking things up, which the solfeggio frequencies do, then therein lies the potential for some really deep-rooted healing. So I think that's addressed part of your question. So with a measuring device, if I can get hold of a measuring device, it should be detectable. It's certainly detectable by the human body. And you've also asked about the upgrade pack, how many other frequencies are included in it. Well, basically, any frequency you want, from any integer frequency, whole number frequency, between 100 and 1,000 hertz. That is what the QSB is capable of handling, and you can use the software to create any frequency that you like. The solfeggio frequency, some solfeggio sequences are already pre-programmed into the software. You can just load them up, but it's capable of, it allows you to put in any frequency in that range and run it as a sequence through the QSB for any duration that you like. Okay. Okay, I'm just going back to Dov's question. Are there standing waves, two created waves that overlap each other or cancelling each other out? Don't really understand that question, Dov. It's putting out pure singular frequencies one at a time. So there's no standing waves created. There's no overlapping frequencies. If you put it runs one frequency at a time. So if you're running the internal frequencies, the internal program is running 396, 417, 528, and it does that. There's 7 frequencies in the sequence, and each one runs for 10 minutes, and then it starts again. Okay, Colin said it's a normal voltage device that should measure it when in the E field. Okay. Yeah, but sorry, I'll be honest, I don't really understand that comment, Colin. in terms of a scalar wave is a very particular wave. I mean, you would be able to detect with some fairly cheap equipment that it is possibly generating some electromagnetic waves, but the quality of a scalar wave is it's created by two electromagnetic waves created perpendicular to each other, and what happens is they basically cancel each other out, and that what you're left is like the longitudinal wave, the scalar wave, which is basically just pure information. So you would be able to measure the E field. Yes, there would be something coming out, but the design of it is that there is two. It's being produced on two separate coils that are cancelling each other out. So the E field is designed to be below. Okay, that's great. Yep. So I'll send you a link, an email. Okay. All right. That'd be great. I would appreciate that, Colin. Yeah. If there is a device that we can use to measure it, I mean, a lot of our customer base, and I'll be honest with you, are, let's say, quite open to being left field. They're quite touchy-feely people. They sense things, they know things. So a lot of people would switch on the QSB and would straight away know what it's doing. And that's the feedback. A lot of feedback we get. And for those people that they wouldn't need any device to check it, they would just know. So within that 30-day guarantee, as long as they trust us, I mean, we as a company rely on our trust relationship with our customers. If we were ever to lose our integrity, we would be finished as a business. So we take these things very seriously. So it doesn't serve us to have unhappy customers out there. So we're offering the QSB at a price. You try it out, you like it, great, keep it, explore it, use it for your own healing groups, your own de-stressing, or send it back. I mean, we accept that it's not the right route for everybody. And you, in your email to me, you mentioned a piece of equipment that's purporting to putting at scalar waves, a competitor. There's a bit of irony with that, in that I know the guy that has produced that, and he's an electronics engineer, and he's actually here in New Zealand and in Auckland, I believe. That's where he lives. That's where we met him anyway. His approach is coming from the Rife, Rife, which is a great healing methodology, but it's very much focused on dealing with the the viruses, the bacteria, or the effects of an illness rather than the cause. Now, our approach with the QSB is that, and using the Solfeggio frequencies, is that we're trying to get to the causal level, and that causal level is so let's say I've got a bad shoulder. I would say, if it's something that's manifesting in the physical, it's got an emotional or a mental issue, and that could be something I've been carrying around for a child, as from childhood. So this is where the QSB is coming in. It's shaking. Scalar waves have the potential to vibrate everything. So it's not just happening on the physical. It's touching the emotional and the mental. So it has the potential to shake things up. and then that has to be aligned with our own intent, because the QSB is not going to come and heal anybody. It's not going to come and fix anybody, but what it will do is it will aid in a person's individual healing journey, and that is a shift in paradigm that needs to happen, and not everybody is on that page. And we get a lot of people ask the question, I've got this illness, or my auntie's got that illness, will the QSB help? I mean, there's a legal issue with saying, oh, we can cure this and that, but we wouldn't do that anyway. But what I would say is that the potential is there for anything to be healed, because anything, any illness is incurable, and that means that it's incurable from within. We have that power to do it. And what the QSB is doing is in creating a perfect environment for that to happen, and the tree of our being is being shaken, and whilst the tree is being shaken, the toxic squirrels, to use an analogy, that represent our illnesses and our issues, are they're partially falling out of the tree. Their footing is unsteady, and then it's our intent that say, look, okay, I'm ready to move on from this. I want to get rid of this, and then that potential is there.
That's interesting that Dov's put abusing my frequencies with the QSB. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Right. So, yes, that kind of dovetail. Sorry, that wasn't an intentional pun on your name, Dove. Yes, it fits in with what I'm saying. The approach of Rife, which is a very valid approach, is like, okay, I've got this virus, this bacteria, this condition. I put this frequency in, and it will counter that. It will. I mean, uses the principles of resonance, as I understand, that everything has its natural frequency to vibrate at, and if you give it more energy than it can cope with at that frequency, it loses its form. So you can destroy a virus, you can destroy a bacteria, but that isn't what the QSB is designed for. So interesting that you've tried that and you didn't feel comfortable with it. You wouldn't be able to run all of the Rife frequencies through the QSB, but you certainly you could certainly use some of them and experiment. And I say that's very good feedback, Dove.
Because Colin's asking about that question too.
Well, yeah. So, Colin, you're welcome to try it. But as I said, that's not really the QSB is designed to be a delivery vehicle for the Solfeggio frequencies, which are incredibly powerful, incredibly useful frequencies, and that's why we built them in. But certainly there is the scope to experiment beyond that, and that's when we would encourage people to do it. You won't be able to use all the frequencies. I'll be completely honest with you. If this is the way you want, if this is where you want to go, then you would be better off with that other device that you mentioned. I mean, it's a lot more money, but it would more likely have the ability to do that what you want. So the QSB is primarily designed as a delivery for the Solfeggio frequencies, in a very useful format, more powerful than sound frequencies. And the Solfeggio frequencies delivered as sound, that is a powerful system and very useful. Delivered as scalar waves, much more so. So that is the primary focus.
So Dove had a question further back.
Okay. Okay, what is the nature of quantum part of QSB? Is it like the consciousness chooses reality or electron probability field kind of thing? When we use the word quantum, really we're just acknowledging that, acknowledging the field, acknowledging that everything is energy, and that what we perceive as physical is a manifestation of energy. In fact, this is no longer left field. A quantum physicist will tell you that there really is nothing here. I mean, if you look beyond the atom and look into an atom, it's all empty space, and the bits that they thought were something are actually there when you look at them, and not when you don't. So everything is a product of energy and consciousness. And when we use the word quantum, that is an acknowledgement of that. Okay, have I answered everybody's questions so far? Because then if we have, then I'll move on to some of the questions that we were emailed. Okay, Colin has asked, expected lifespan of the QSB. It's pretty robust electronics. They're not. It's the electronics is made here in New Zealand. So I would say, I don't know. We guarantee them for a year. I would say probably between 5 and 10 years. I mean, depending on the environment they're used in and how often they're used. Yeah. If it gets damaged through accidents, could we send it to be fixed? Yes, you could. The circuit board is pretty robust. You very much doubt whether you would be able to damage that unless you plugged it directly into the mains or something daft like that. If you were to drop it, most likely you dislodge one of the coils, and we could easily repair that for you. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, if I just get to Anne sent in a question. If I wanted a special frequency, how can I find which one is appropriate? Now, this is something that we are looking at doing a webinar on. This is not our area of expertise, but we have worked with many people that this is things. They're doing things like muscle testing, which is or kinesiology. You can also use dowsing. We have got we use that ourselves. For anybody that's not familiar with dowsing, the principle is basically that your subconscious mind that has access to the field, that has access to your body, and has access to a lot more information than our conscious mind, is capable of making very slight movements to your fingers, and in conjunction with a swinging pendulum can influence it to swing left or right, so you can get positive or negative frequencies, and then that way it's quite simple to find frequencies. In fact, I've used this quite extensively myself. So you can use dowsing, you can use muscle testing. There are techniques that you can use. So there's
do people do the
yeah. So basically, the whole principle behind kinesiology is that a positive response generates strength in your muscles, in your body, and a negative response generates weakness. So if I were to make a statement, my name is Paul, that is a lie, and it would weaken my system. So you can detect that as a weakness in the muscles. So to identify a series of frequencies, the way I would do it is, first of all, ask how many digits in the frequencies. Are we looking at 4 or 3, 4 or 5 digits? And I would narrow it down. And once I got that out of the way, I would ask, what is the first digit? And I would say, is it higher? Is it 5 or higher? And I would get a result. If it was a positive result, I would be strong. If it was a negative result, I would be weak. And then I would narrow it down further. Is it 5? Is it 6, 7, 8? So you got the first frequency, and you mark that off, and then is the first number of the frequency, and then you go on to the next one. Similarly, you could do that with a pendulum. That's my preferred option. You just simply ask the question: is it 5 or higher? Yes. Okay. Is it 6, 5, 6, 7, 8? Then obviously you've only got 9, 10 digits to work with. So that, and you can then use the app to run those frequencies. People that have been doing this, people have got this skill set or this inclination, are generally feeding back that the results that they're getting are within the frequencies, the Solfeggio frequencies. So they're asking questions and getting an answer of one frequency. They've perhaps got one condition, one specific condition that they're focused on releasing, and they're saying they're getting one specific Solfeggio frequency that is going to have the most benefit. And then you can program the software on the app to give you more time at that frequency, rather than just the standard 10 minutes that's part of the inbuilt sequence. So let's say you wanted to run 528 for half an hour, then you could do that. Okay, that's that question. Gerald asked the question. Yep, I've kind of addressed this. My wife has a long-standing illness. How can the QSB help her? Well, we get variations of this question all the time. Legally, we can't say that we'll do anything specifically, but it has the potential to get to the root of any problem. And I will say that we have the potential to cure any of our own disease conditions ourselves. And from my experience, from feedback, my experience as a healer, the number one factor in is whether somebody can be healed or not is whether they are ready to let go. The whole process for me of healing is letting go of stuff that no longer serves us, whether that is an attitude, whether that is a stress, an issue. It's a willingness to step into the unknown, which is basically what you're doing. If you've had something for your whole life, it's almost like you've got this friend that you know is bad for you. He's got you into drugs and alcohol, and keeps you up all night, doing things that you don't really want to do. But you've had him from school or from childhood, and he's there, and it's like, well, okay, he's not a good friend, but he's familiar, and I'm not ready to move on. That's kind of the way I see it. So healing is a lot to do with mindset and intent to basically step into the unknown, to let go of. And that's true of all change. It's We seem to resist change as a species, and change often happens when the pain of staying where you are is more intense than the pain of stepping into the unknown, which is, nobody seems to want to do, which is the fear of the unknown.
But as far as, I mean, when we care about somebody, we want to fix them, we want to make them well, we want to do whatever we can. But when we get to the place of knowing that we really can't do that, that it's up to everybody, it's their own journey, and it's up to everybody to do what they want to do, it's their will. So you can have anything and say, like Gerald said, will it fix my wife? I want to fix my wife, so will the QSB fix my wife? But that's really not the question. As David said, is does the wife want to be fixed? And I mean, that sounds awful. And a lot of people like balk at that and say, but of course we do, but we don't, because for some people their illnesses become their identity even, and they get a lot of sympathy, a lot of energy. Without that, they don't have anything. They don't exist in their own eyes, in their own mind. So, Gerald, we can only fix ourselves, and just pour that love out into your wife. And unfortunately, the rest has got to be left to her and how she interacts with the QSB.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Tom asked, do I need to use the QSB every day? Need, no. Benefit, yes, there's benefit to be had in using it every day. But if you go with your intuition, let's say everybody's on their own healing journey. Some people may want to slow it down. It might, we've had people that have used the QSB for the very first time. In fact, we've done demonstrations, and people have had a healing reaction. People have literally had something come up and be released that they've been carrying around all their lives in the first, the first experience. And that's great. But other things can take longer, and that the time factor is what I've been saying. It's really about getting to the point of letting go yourself, because the QSB is capable of shaking anything out if you're ready to let it go. That I have absolutely no doubt. We've had the feedback that we've had, the results that we've had. I have absolutely no hesitation to say that potential is there. But then it's down to the individual as to how fast you want to go. Is there time needed to assimilate and to get ready? And all these factors would influence how often you use the QSB. So yes, use it every day. If that feels too much for you, then use it every week or when you feel like it. So there's no rigid rules. There's no formula. There's no Janin formula, because we are all different and we are all on our own individual healing journeys.
And some people become very intense about their healing and what they need. They have a set idea of where they want to go, what they want, and they become very intense about it. And we get lots of questions about how long will it take to get to this place. And they might never get to that place. That might not be the place that they need to go to, or whatever. So like everything in life, there has to be an openness to sensing it out, if you like, and doing what is right for you and what needs to be done, and not focus on the goal, but on the journey. And if the journey is too intense, then back off. because it's no good if it's going to be so painful that you're not going to want to do it. And it sometimes is going to be a bit painful, because it's always painful letting go. But if it's really, really painful, then every other day, whenever you feel like it. But in my own, and I've used the QSB in some times of great stress. You know, I went through a grieving time, and I couldn't cope. And the QSB, I used the QSB to go into a very quiet place where I could just be me and cope with just that. Did I want to do it every day? Not necessarily. Did I have time every day? No. So just feel it. Go with what you need, and don't be all intense on, I've got to get there. I've got to get there. We get this an awful lot. I've got to get there. I want that. I want to be there. I want to be like this. I want to, and they're missing the journey and life, really. So back off a bit sometimes and enjoy.
Yeah. So Colin's coming with another question. So about the distance from the QSB. Well, the thing is about scalar waves. Actually, they keep on going. They travel faster than light, and I don't know. Probably some of the scalar waves that we've created with the QSB so far are still traveling out there. But as far as a therapeutic distance, that is really a thing to do with individual sensitivity. We get some people that are very sensitive to energy, and sitting on top of it is too much for them. So they want to sit a little bit further away. Other people are quite happy to sit on top of them. There's no harm to. Yeah. Okay. I get. I don't have any problems sitting right next to it, but the recommended would be to have it on a coffee table or dining table, and then sit around the table. And one thing about the QSB is that the coils are 360 degrees. So it's designed that you can use it in a room. We've done demonstrations with 20 people sitting around an individual QSB. So it's certainly going to affect anybody in the room, and so I would, and that room could be quite big, and it would still affect everybody. Some people would want to sit next to it, and some people would want to sit a little bit further away.
So it's really a matter of experimenting, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Because
David can stand the QSB right on his bedside table, fine. I can't cope with that. It's just too intense for me. So I think it just depends on how energy sensitive. And I personally think that people know what distance is. And it can't be too far away, can it?
Sorry,
you can't have it too far
away.
No,
no, yeah.
Well, you could if it was like the other side of the whatever, but
yeah. For the therapeutic use, you really want to be in the same room with it, and you want to be, you want to be sitting at a comfortable distance away from it. But we haven't put an exact distance on that, because they say that's an individual thing. Okay, that answered that question. Marianne sent us a question. Is it just effective use of QSB while reading on the computer, etc., as meditating? I would say no. Will it have some beneficial effect? Almost certainly. If you want to have the maximum effect, I would say you need to have all your ducks in a row, and that means being conscious with the process. If that means meditating to you, then that's great. If it means sitting quietly with the aligning with the intent. Look, I'm ready to move. Expressing that intent. I'm ready to move on from this, and being with the process, or even just focusing on the different frequencies and how how you're feeling with those different frequencies. So yes, there is benefit to be had. If you want maximum benefit, then give it some quality time and quality focus. Hillary sent us a question. If I use the QSB while socializing with friends, and then could they have a reaction that they can't explain? Well, first off, I would say there's a bit of an ethical issue with giving people any type of healing or frequency without their knowledge. So I would from my point of view, I would say, if you're playing the QSB and other people are in the room and being exposed, then you owe it to them to say, this is what's going on. Are you on board with it or not? And then as far as having experiences they can't explain, if they're having an experience and you're playing the QSB, then it's a fairly logical connection between the two things, so that the QSB is shaking things up for them, and they're releasing it. And that process of releasing can be short-term pain. Pain I associate with a point of resistance, that resistance to change that I'm talking about. So let's say that that issue has manifested in a pain in my elbow, or a condition with my elbow, and the QSB, playing the QSB, and that pain manifests in my elbow, and then gets released, and then the pain is gone. But that pain is that resistance, is like, oh, I'm letting go of that. That was Hillary's question. Are there any other questions? Steph. Okay, Steph asking this is sort of a roundabout question with the QSB to do with the affiliate system. We do. She's asking about how the QSB affiliate system works. We've got one or two people that are doing very well with this. This is a way that people can earn back the money that they've spent on the QSB by helping us get it out there and into being used in the community. As I've said, it lends itself to a group of people sitting around it and having experience. So it's something that people can use their living room for. We've got a presentation video, me talking, explaining what the QSB is all about, that can be played on the television. You can make an event. And then we have an affiliate system that built into our website that allows you to earn some money from any that gets sold. So you just pass. We give you some brochures with your affiliate number on, and then you hand those out at the event, and then they simply use that link that you provide them, and that will earn some commission. So it wouldn't take too much for you to get the cost of the machine back. So that is an option for people that want to go that route. Okay, I think that's all the questions that we had sent in. Are there any further questions from you guys? So this event is purely driven by your questions and providing answers. Do we accept Bitcoin? No, I'm sorry, Colin, we're not set up to accept Bitcoin. I'm still trying to get my head around Bitcoin, but so no, sorry, you'll have to convert it into old-fashioned money, I'm afraid. Any last questions before we wind this up? Okay, thanks for that, Colin. Glad we had this chance to talk to you directly at the point where you were looking. So we haven't done one of these for a long time. We did it in the very early days when we just started. We'd only had I think about 60 or 70 QSBs out there, and we did a Google Hangout, which we had some technical problems with, but it's great that the timing was good for you, and that we could answer your questions directly. Dov, appreciate your appreciation. Thanks, Dov. Everything happens for a reason. Yes, absolutely, Colin. You're on exactly the same page as us. Everything has a reason. Everything has a season. So and that is definitely working with the QSBs. People come to a point in their lives and they're looking for some help on their healing journey, and they stumble across our website and find the QSB, and there are no accidents in that process whatsoever. So I'm glad that you're resonating with what we're saying. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I think we have come to a natural conclusion. So just remains for us to wish you a great afternoon, and wish you all the best. And thank you for joining us and being part of this event. As I say, it is being recorded, and so the questions that you've asked and hopefully our answers will be there for benefiting other people that will have the same questions.
But please stay in touch. We're only an email away, so
yeah.
You know.
And we may have one of these again in the future, but we have got the forum. Anybody that gets a QSB with the upgrade, it gets automatic access to that forum, and there's lots of good information there, and it's a good place to post your question, post your experiences, so that other people can benefit from it. So yeah, that is there. And by the way, Colin, we've not got any special offers or anything attached to this webinar, but if you're looking for the best deal at the moment, I would go to our Christmas offers. So if you go to our homepage, you will see there is a banner that will take you to our Christmas offers, and there you will find the best deal to be had on the QSB, the best price that we're offering at the moment, and that includes the upgrade, and it also includes a free kibble, which is our keyring energy balancing device. Okay. All right. So once again wish you a good afternoon.
Colin.
Yeah, thanks, Colin. Appreciate your appreciation, and we're looking forward to connecting with you again down the road.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take care.